Hey folks, Troubletcat here recording for the Zombie Arcade, and today we're taking a look at our first G3A3 game. This is with no attachments, and we're going to talk about, obviously, before we talk about the gun in the game, as per usual, a little bit about the weapon in real life. The development of this rifle can actually be traced back right to the end of World War II, when Mauser was developing prototype assault rifles, so it sort of has a direct lineage with some of the first assault rifles ever manufactured, including the STG-45, which you may know of. And it's developed by the German weapons manufacturer Heckler & Koch. It was adopted by the West German Army in 1959 as a replacement for the FN FAL, and the rifle has actually been adopted by the armed forces of over 40 countries since then. It fires the heavy 7.62 by 51mm NATO round in either single or full auto fire mode, normally from a 20-round box magazine. To be clear, this is a round that you really don't want to get hit by. I mean, obviously, getting hit by a bullet is never ideal. But this thing weighs more than twice as much as the 5.56 by 45mm NATO round fired by the M16, and although it's normally fired at a much lower velocity, it still has more than twice as much energy out of the muzzle due to the size of the round. It's more commonly used in sniper rifles and light machine guns than in assault rifles on the modern battlefield, actually. The A3 is the most well-known version, which is what's in this game. It has a fixed plastic stock, drum sights, and a plastic handgun that comes in either a light or heavy, which in BF3 it's the heavy version. It can fit a bipod, a bayonet, and the HK-79 underslung grenade launcher. It doesn't feature the Picatinny rail system for fitting optics that the M16, for example, has, but they can be bolted on in pretty much the same way as the AK-47. So in the game, again, it's pretty accurate to real life. It's got a rate of fire that's around 550 rounds per minute in full auto in the game. It's actually I think the slowest firing rifle in the game, but and it's got pretty heavy recoil, but decent damage as well. It's this gun takes a little bit of getting used to. It's not bad like the N94 is. Quite terrible at the moment, despite having some of the sort of same things, low rate of fire and high recoil. But this gun sort of has that good range, and it's got actually a bit less recoil than the N94. It's significantly easier to control, I find, than that weapon, making it pretty decent all around. It's probably one of the weaker assault rifles in the game. The damage is only marginally higher, if at all. I'm not actually 100% sure it's at all higher than the likes of the M16, even though the rate of fire is much lower. And you've got those small magazines, which can be a pain. But the low rate of fire is part of what makes it so easy to control, and it does have quite a solid range on it. The shots are quite accurate. It's not a bad rifle at all. It's definitely not my favorite, but it is kind of enjoyable to use, and you can definitely get work done with this gun, particularly at medium range and longer ranges. It's not so good close up because of that low rate of fire, and the hip fire accuracy isn't that great, but you can make it work if your enemy does not have an amazing close up weapon, or if he's kind of bad. You can still take them out. And you can see in this game, I do some pretty good work with this. This was a reasonably good game for me. Rush on no sharpnails. Get on a nice little kill streak in the beginning here, which you've already seen the start of. I was in a tank there, got blowed the fuck out, but managed to survive and kill dudes. In fact, I seem to recall pulling off something pretty cool up in Alpha here in just a second in these shipping containers. I had the moves, if I recall correctly. I don't know. Perhaps I'm overplaying my own awesomeness. Perhaps not. I don't even know. My poor buddy friend, he really needs to live and not get shot and die. Good friend, buddy! And we did end up winning this game, so it went pretty well for my team as well, which is always good. That was some fail aiming there. Yeah, I think I may have misremembered what went down here, because that does not bode well at all. That was the last of my. Oh yeah, that's right. I had like 11 shots left and picked up the second guy. Only a few rounds, got my kill streak on, and then I can't live there. Can't live there at all. And so I went from, that sort of good win at the beginning. I failed pretty hard, though. I went on a little bit of a death streak here. It was only 3 deaths in a row, but these were actually quite long lives of not much happening, and then I died, which is always a little bit frustrating. I mean, I cut out most of those lives because, as I said, not much happened, then I died. But that's all good. And then there's a little bit more winning. I like to trade my winning and my failing in equal measure. If you just win the entire game, it gets kind of bland. You gotta have some failure in there too, keep things interesting. Mix it up a little bit. I mean, if you just win throughout the entire, you're not gonna have a good time. It's pretty lame. All the pro players make sure to fail from time to time because otherwise you get too used to winning and then eventually you just forget how. It's true fact. In fact, I'd say that if you don't fail as much as I do, you're probably not very good at this game. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Absolutely. There's this annoying glitch on this gun in Battlefield 3 that you can see right now, where sometimes you can see through the weapon. It doesn't happen all the time, but just sometimes you can see through the weapon stock, and I find that really annoying and kind of distracting when playing. I hope that gets fixed in one of the patches. Obviously, not really a super high priority thing for DICE, I'm sure, but it is kind of annoying when that happens. I think you'll see in this video sometimes it happens, other times it does not happen. I don't even know why. I'm a big fan of the... See, it's just stop there. I'm a big fan of the iron sights on this gun. They're quite clear, and you can see a fair bit above the sights, and also I find them to be quite quick. I don't know. Sometimes I have some issues with them in this match. On this map in particular, I find on No Shot Canals, in this first phase particularly, the visibility is terrible because there's all this ambient smoke or dust or something just around. Mist, maybe? I don't know. It gets really hard to see people because you got all this ambient mist. And then you've got the sun on this map is blinding as all fuckery. It gets a little bit clearer, a little bit easier to see on the other phases, but this first one can just be really brutal in terms of visibility. And with these iron sights with no zoom, it is not terribly easy to spot people. But I still managed to pick off a few good kills at longer ranges, mostly just sort of shooting at markers, which is nice. And I haven't figured out what attachment loadouts I'm going to do for this gun because I don't use this gun a whole lot. I do think it's a solid weapon and it's kind of fun to use, but it's not one of my absolute favorites, so I don't use this one heaps. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do for attachment loadouts for this, but I'm sure I'll think of a thing or two. I might do what I did with the AEK and just throw up a couple of live commentaries because people seem to enjoy those, and it's like good to mix things up a little bit, get super excited, and just try and pull on some noobs live. So I may just go with that, seeing as I don't have any particular plans for this gun's attachment loadouts. And then after that, it's going to be on to the engineer class and doing some carbines. Moving on, this is going to be like the 20th video in this series or something, and I've only done one of the 4 classes. This is going to be a lot of videos in this series, especially with Karkin coming out with 10 more primary weapons soon. I mean, there's the 4 classes, and then I'm also going to do the all-kit primaries, and maybe even talk about secondaries a bit. Might talk about the underslung launchers and the underslung shotgun. There's quite a lot of guns in this game. It's a pretty good variety. I really like that. It always bugs me when games just don't have a very good variety of weapons. And not only that, but most of the weapons in this game don't feel too samey. A lot of games, like every assault rifle, feels kind of the same. But I feel like in this game, there's actually a good sort of mix of different feel weapons, which is what I really like. I mean, to me, oftentimes it's not the most effective weapon in the world is going to be my favorite. It's going to be the one that I really like the feel of, that I have a lot of fun using. And that's sort of why, I mean, if I was just going to play with the most effective weapons in the game, you wouldn't be seeing this video right now. I wouldn't touch the G3A3. I certainly wouldn't use the AN-94. I'd be using, I don't know, the G36C, I'd be using the F2000, and not a whole lot else. You know, there's a few other real standout guns. But because all the guns have sort of a unique feel and have interesting handling and stuff, it makes it sort of a pleasure to have a bit of variety there and mix up your weapons choices a fair bit. That's cool. Oh, I think I'll mention in this video, I'm going to have to do another AN-94 video. Because in the upcoming patch, they're apparently making some changes to the AN-94. I've seen the patch notes, to make it a bit closer to what it's like in real life, especially the 2-shot burst mode. So I think I'm going to do yet another AN-94 video after that patch. You can see here me using a bit of the single fire on this gun, which has nice low recoil, very good single fire. Anyway, I think I'm going to have to do another AN-94 video after the patch to talk about that, see if it's made any better. They're also changing the M416. If you'll recall, I mentioned in my video, the M416 in real life only has single and full auto fire. It doesn't have burst fire, which it had in the game, and that's getting removed. But that's really the only change they're making to that, so I'm not going to do another M416 video, basically just no more burst fire on that gun. Apparently they're also adding more recoil to every gun in the game. There was a few things in the patch where it sounds like they're just sort of trying to make the weapons handling require a little bit more skill, make it a little bit tougher. And I like that. I like games where there's heavy recoil and stuff, because I feel, especially with how few shots it takes to kill with guns in this game, it's important to make sure that there's a fair few things making it a bit harder to hit people, such as high recoil and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to the patch, plus the Earned and Tack White getting changed. You might see another video about the Earned and Tack White as well. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. As always, let me know what you thought of the video. That's all for now. Troubletcat out.